Hello and welcome to Sobrix. I'm Adam and this is Sobrix. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at the Lego City Dirt Road Pursuit set. This is set number 60172. It has 297 pieces and I paid $50 for this set. This is a retired set. It is from kind of 2018. I think it was available on the Lego website, or at least seemed to be available from Lego directly from like late 2017 to early 2020. So a couple years old at this point. I got this sealed. It is retired. The price for it, the retail price in 2017, 2018 was $40 for just under 300 pieces. So that's worth considering. I paid $50. The market price for these now post-retirement in a sealed box seems to be, in the $40 range, maybe plus. I think on Bricklink there's some that are a little bit less than what I paid on Brickset. They say the current value for a new sealed box is about $47, which is pretty close to what I paid. I didn't pay shipping or anything. So I was able to just get this. I felt like $50 was okay. I don't typically look at a bunch of police Lego City stuff or stuff that has quote-unquote crooks in it or anything. This looked a little bit interesting to me and I decided to give it a chance for that, and I'm interested to see what they have here. I don't know if this was a specific sub-theme that was kind of mountain police. It may have been, which is kind of interesting. I mean, a little bit different, and I do want to see what that's about. So I picked this up, and now in this video I'm going to open this up. I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. While I build, I will speed the video up, and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so while we look at the build for this Lego City Dirt Road Pursuit set, I just wanted to say thanks for watching, and then remind you, if you like the video, click the thumbs up. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button. That helps me a lot. You can support the channel, give money to the channel on YouTube, membership, supers, and thanks. There's a Patreon in the description, as well as some other links and fun things that help support the channel. And then I wanted to talk about the build. So we start off here with the bike. That's pretty simple, and a little bit of terrain and a falling rock, and then we move right on into this vehicle. This was kind of unique for a city vehicle. It's wider than I'm used to a lot of city vehicles being, and that's partly because of the mountain setting. But this ends up looking kind of like a red Jeep-esque vehicle, with the maybe roof and the doors removed, which I did appreciate. And then we start working on the police truck, or the law enforcement truck, which is pretty unique too. It does have big wheels. It does kind of look relatively lifted. Has some good details compared to some other basic vehicles I've looked at somewhat recently, which I did appreciate. And again, this one is a lot wider than I'm used to seeing for city vehicles, and again, probably can be attributed to the mountain nature of this all, because this is part of a sub-theme that is like the mountain police. It kind of has like a flatbed truck looking thing, or like a pickup truck look, with a some space in the back for different things. It doesn't have like a tailgate that can be opened or closed, but that's okay. And then we add this nice net launcher on the back, and that's everything after the tires. So great. And now on to my review for this set. Okay, so here we have the Lego City Dirt Road Pursuit set. This is a mountain police set, and it's a city set from a couple years ago. Interesting, because I think this was produced maybe right at the end of 2017, the instructions don't have the QR code, and then this ended up being available through, probably 2019, 2020, it seems to me. And it didn't have that QR code because that officially kind of started in 2018. So that's a little surprising. I thought this was like close enough around there that maybe it would still have that, but that does not appear to be the case. And this is an interesting set, not my typical kind of set that I'm drawn to, but just because of the odd nature of it and not seeing it on like store shelves. In the modern times, I wanted to take a look at it. So there's a lot to look at, and we'll jump right into it. And the first thing we will do is start with the minifigures, like we usually do. You get 3 minifigures in this set. 2 of them are police, and they are pretty good, but I do have some issues with all of the minifigures that if this set were to be recreated today, I'm pretty sure this would be a little bit different. So the first one, we have a police officer here. They are wearing kind of this biking helmet, motocross-like helmet with the visor there, and I can show their face underneath. This one has more like, I don't know, feminine presenting features for the minifigure face. No alternate face there, and no hairpiece. So this character, if they are ever without the helmet, the set does not come with a hairpiece for them. Maybe they have a shaved head or, short cropped hair or something, which is totally possible, and certainly other minifigure hairstyles could be put on this character, but as far as what's in the box, that is a notable exclusion that I think now they maybe would have included some alternate hair for these characters, but very basic kind of feminine presenting face here. Looking at the torso, this is pretty good. So they're wearing kind of a vest. They have the nice zipper there, a badge, some different pockets, as well as a radio here. Good detail, a little bit different than a lot of the quote like police uniforms or law enforcement or emergency response uniforms I see. Probably because this is a little bit of like mountain, emergency response. There is no printing on the midsection. There is printing on the legs, just some pockets, kind of some cargo pants. Looks like they have like the darker blue sleeves there, but the vest for the torso I think is actually pretty interesting. Looking at the back here, I thought this was cool too. We do have the printing there saying police. We have like a really detailed radio printed on the back that kind of it's intended to like attach to this bit up here, and then there's also this on the belt, and I think that's maybe a canteen or something like a water bottle or something like that. So that's really nice. I think that's a nicely detailed kind of back there that I didn't expect. But that's pretty much everything for this character. There are a couple other accessories for the emergency response characters that I'll point out later. But I did think that it is a shame there isn't an additional hairpiece in here. That way we could get alternate faces because the hairpiece would cover them, and I just think that makes play a lot more accessible. So I would have liked to have seen that. The next one we will look at is the other emergency response officer, police officer type characters. So this one has more of a, they're pretty generic Lego City faces, but I would say this one is more on the side of like masculine presenting. They do have a baseball cap here, which is, just a cap, a hat here with the brim. Very basic. Looking at the face underneath there, again, pretty basic. Maybe not as basic as the bike officer was, but this one's still pretty basic. No alternate face and no hairpiece. So if they were to not have their hat on, we wouldn't. They would just again maybe have a shaved head or something like that. Looking at the torso, this feels pretty similar to other emergency response and police officer of the law type people in Lego form and Lego City form specifically. Kind of have a dark blue sort of button-up type thing here. Maybe have some bars or some medals or some pins kind of up on the collar. Got the badge over here, the radio over here. It does appear like there is detail that's a little bit hard to see on camera, but this is like a button down. It also does have breast pockets, and then the belt is actually printed on the torso, so there is no printing on the midsection. Same legs, so printing on the legs, kind of some pockets there, maybe some kind of cargo pants. Nothing on the arms. Back of the torso is very basic. We have the radio here again, as well as maybe a little pouch or something else on their belt, so that is fine. Again, I would have liked to have seen this with a hairpiece, and that it just as the option. You know, I would always like them to err on the side of like giving the option, because that does certainly allow builders and people who play with the Lego sets and to choose to have them have a shaved head or short hair or something like that. They get the option to do that, even if there's a included kind of alternate hair for these characters. But that's that. And the last one we have here is kind of the quote-unquote crook, and this is somebody who is maybe has stolen some money, maybe has broken out of a you know, sort of prison or jail or some other carceral kind of environment, and this is okay. Again, they have a baseball kind of cap here, different color. Looking at the face, this one has the most detail by far. They're kind of baring their teeth. They have sort of some facial hair on there, and some good details overall. They look kind of upset, kind of angry there. No alternate face, no alternate hair piece for this character, but the face is kind of the most unique out of all of these three characters. Looking at the torso, this is really interesting. The reason I thought maybe they were, you know, escaping detention essentially is because they kind of have this sort of a jumpsuit looking thing peeking out, and it also appears to have a, you know, a ID kind of number on it or something. So maybe they are having escaped, and this is post that. And then on the outside of that, they have this nice kind of jacket that feels very like woodsman type, has little kind of tassels, or not like buttons, but the little kind of, I don't even know what you call them. You have clasps that you like put through a loop, and they have like a bead there, so that's good. Looks like a little bit of fur around here, and it's just that this coat was maybe put on in haste or something, or otherwise became, you know, undone in such a way to reveal their uniform that maybe they didn't want people to see. And this has a little extra printing on the coat, no printing on the midsection, no printing on the legs, nothing on the arms. Back of the coat is very basic, a couple lines for, you know, folds and different details, as well as kind of the fur around here. I think this is a fine minifigure. It's kind of an interesting concept, and you know, I like to use my imagination to try to come up with story ideas where this isn't necessarily like in cops versus robbers, or an inherent like bad guy or good guys, or something like this. So it makes it a little bit more difficult for me to do that, because the kind of jumpsuit under there is exposed a little bit, which does sort of paint this character as a little bit shady. They do have some accessories, and I'll show those. So they have a couple $100 tiles, or 100 tiles here, the money tiles, as well as this kind of backpack type thing, or sack or bag. It can go around the minifigure's neck, so they could wear this on their back if they wanted to, which is easy enough to put on. Get that on there so we can see what that looks like. And so it's maybe their loot is there. They have a couple $100 bills in there, or the printed tiles, and so maybe they were just traveling with an amount of cash, had a brake light out, and it became a thing because I don't know, some civil asset forfeiture thing or some other odd thing, but that's not a very positive interaction either. So, in my mind, I would like for this to be like the officers of the law or the emergency response officers are kind of maybe helping this person rather than trying to chase them down. But the set is called A Pursuit, and it's very clearly like kind of designed that way. I would just in my city, I would probably want to have a slightly different story than what's maybe obvious in this set. So and that's good. That's an extra thing for me to work my brain on and be creative and be imaginative and try to make this work for me. And even though it does feel like it's kind of painted into a corner, like right out of the box, but those are the figures, not a big deal. I think overall they are fine. Would have really liked to have seen hair for all of them in addition to the hats and the helmet. The next thing we can look at is this sign. It's just a couple pieces. There is a sticker. It's kind of a beware falling rocks sign. So we have that right here. We also have the sort of emergency response motorcycle bike type thing. So it uses kind of the motorcycle chassis. This kind of seat was used in Nexonites as well for the like hover horses. But good to see here that kind of clips on to the bike kind of chassis. We add the wheels on there, and then this one does have a sticker on the front, which is a little bit interesting. It has kind of the badge emblem there, and this character can be put on here. You could attach the minifigure's hands to these bar elements, the handlebars there. I like the just inclusion of these couple little T-bar elements there because they almost look like footrests or something. They can also serve as sort of a kickstand or some extra support so this doesn't fall over just by like spinning those around a little bit. You can make this much more stable as is, on just the wheels being the thickness that they are. It's doable, but it's also pretty easy to knock it over if these aren't used. So I think that's what they're intended to be used as, kind of a kickstand or whatever there, but it could be that they're also just supposed to be kind of extra detailing on this. Very, very simple build, but effective nonetheless. So we have that. Then we have the little bit of terrain here, which is super simple. Starts on a 6x8. Build this up. There's a little bit of Technic in here. Slopes, a lot of dark bluish gray, a little bit of light bluish gray. We do get one of these rock elements. That's 2 pieces. Nothing inside for this one. Maybe this character is perceived as trespassing, but they are actually like on someone they know's property, and maybe the deal is they like stashed some money inside of this rock and they were coming to retrieve it, and it's not for any nefarious reasons. Maybe it was just for a treasure hunt or a scavenger hunt or something like this, and they were trying to get here, and then maybe these response people kind of saw them and were sort of asking questions about what it is, and maybe the interaction is actually like much more friendly and positive than what is implied. Of course, if that is the case, it doesn't totally make sense that they have their like little jumpsuit thing under here. I'm sure I could keep expanding on that. Maybe that's part of the scavenger hunt or something, you know. But anyway, you can open that rock up. The rock like can attach to something, it doesn't need to. And then we have a very simple lever, a very simple mechanism here to kind of launch the rock, which you know, kind of coordinates with the sign, beware of the falling rocks. So if this was elevated a little bit and there was like a road, kind of a mountain road, this could potentially be triggered to, you know, fall into the road a little bit, which would be very dangerous for people who are driving on the road. The next thing we have is this kind of almost buggy looking vehicle that is the Crook's car or something. It's almost like a convertible or like a Jeep with the roof and the doors taken off, something like that. And this is pretty cool. So it's red. There's no like top on here. It's wider than 6 wide, you know, because of the wheels. It is like here 6 wide plus then the mirrors there, but that's a little bit interesting. So slightly bigger than that, and maybe that has to do with the mountain, you know, police of it all. It does have, you know, elements where it's just 4 wide, like at the front and the back. Looking at the bottom, it doesn't use a standard chassis. We use a 2x plate. We use these kind of pre-molded sort of axle plates, build that up with some of these inverted slope pieces, and we build the seating area there. It is center seating. There is a steering wheel. They don't have doors on here. We do use these tiles with the kind of vertical panel wall there, but we can set this inside the character here, so something like that. And maybe they're driving so fast with the top down that their jacket kind of blew open or something like that, and from the wind and everything else. So maybe we get kind of something like that there. They have a good amount of space in there, so it looks all right. And then we kind of just build it up very, very basically. There's a little bit of studs on the side for kind of the lights behind the grill element here. This kind of hood slopes are done really, really basically. It's just essentially 2 pieces that create that nice shape. The back has a little extra going on. It's almost like it's like a pickup, or like I say, like a Jeep or something like that. So we have these kind of like cross beam support bar elements there, kind of on the rear, and the kind of piping thing back here. And then we do have a space for the bag or the sack or whatever with the money to stud down, which is nice. I always appreciate that for sets to include. So you can see there's the 2x2 jumper in there, as well as the like vented grate like pieces, so you can stud the backpack down in there, and that will, you know, pretty reliably stay in there because it's studded down. The actual money tiles, you know, would fall out if because if you were to kind of manipulate this in a certain way or change it, flip it upside down, these would fall out. But for the most part, the bag is going to be pretty stable there. This doesn't have like any suspension or shocks or anything. The kind of pieces they do use for the axle gives the impression of that, but it doesn't really have it. We can just kind of see through the various little pieces in here. Part of that is all kind of giving the look of it, and that's pretty much everything for this. Does use some of these slightly bigger wheels than you might expect to see here, but if it's kind of in the mountains, that makes sense. And the last thing, arguably the main thing about this set, or included in this set, is the police truck, kind of 4x4 sort of mountain vehicle. And this is actually pretty cool. Again, I think it's interesting that, you know, this is 6 wide for some of it, and then 8 wide, you know, here, and then even wider with the wheels. And this is another one doesn't use a chassis piece. We actually just do a lot of studs on top. We use these 2x2 bricks with the Technic pin for the axles. We kind of make little sub-assemblies for those. Attach a 2x plate in there, and we build that up with some inverted slopes, some different plates. There is a bracket used on the front to attach the grill and the lights here. There's a sticker there for the license plate. There's also one on the back, which you may have seen. The majority of the stickers are used on here, so there's one for the sign, there's one on the bike, and then the rest are on this. So this is also a sticker. Same on the other side. Of course, the 2 license plates, which feature the set number. Up here at the front, that is a sticker, and up here, this 02 is also a sticker, and then kind of up here on the yellow kind of piece there, those are stickers on both sides, and I think that's all of them. But this has the look of a pickup, and I thought this was an interesting build. There was some stuff in here that it may be hard to see, but if you can peek right in there, there are some red studs, round plate pieces used to kind of give the impression of some suspension or some shocks or whatever they are called for a vehicle like that. It doesn't actually have any built into it, but it has a nice look. I would say this looks like a pickup truck with like big oversized wheels, maybe capable of off-roading, which is good. Basic fenders up here, not a ton. There's also no doors on this one, and the build for this was kind of interesting because it does have like a thicker kind of walls than I would have anticipated. We have the mirrors here slightly bigger. We get access to the inside by removing the roof piece, and again, this has center steering. It is 6 wide at the like cab level there. Center steering, the speedometer, the dash stuff here is printed, so that's nice. And then we kind of have this yellow motif going on in there that usually is kind of hidden away. We can fit a character in there, and then you kind of build a other sub-assembly type thing for most of the back of this, the bed of this truck. So you build that on a 6x8, I believe, and we use a bunch of these inverted kind of slope pieces, build it up with some stuff at the back. This doesn't have like a tailgate that opens, but we do have that fence piece to use in there. It almost looks like it does because it uses the modified plate with the rail, so it's almost like there's a handle, but there's no hinge or anything in there. And it also doesn't like pop off easily because these red translucent pieces maybe for the lights. But then the rest of this is like tiled out, pretty nicely finished. There is room back here. There's not a ton of room, but there is room. There's some exposed studs. There's kind of the impression of maybe there's like seating back here because there's almost this like step down, and this is like tiled out as well, so you could put stuff back here, cargo. You could also put potentially a person back there. I don't know if the bike really like fits in there easily. That isn't outrageous to me. It's not like the prettiest, but if it's like, just throw the bike in the back of the truck and then we get to the location and maybe there's somewhere the truck can't get and the bike has to come out, and even if it doesn't have a ramp or doesn't have a proper, I guess the proper stuff to load a bike in the back of the truck. I feel like I've seen like motocross bikes thrown in the back of pickups sort of haphazardly, and so this could be done like that in an emergency situation. And then the last thing is essentially the net shooter here, which works pretty well. It is yellow, which I would think maybe doesn't work, but because of the yellow on the inside and stuff, it ends up working pretty well. It doesn't feel super out of place. This attaches with some Technic, so you can see the little bushing here, the half beam, and then all of this kind of piece, where the stickers are, all the way back here, and have spots for Technic pins to be inserted like that. This is all one piece, and you do add in the plunger at the back. I've encountered net shooters before in like there was one of the the Lego Batman movie sets, the oh shoot, it was like the Bat Scuttler or whatever, I think had a net shooter that worked. This one, you can't rotate it, you can't lean it up and down really. The only way you could rotate it is by taking this out entirely, because it does use the axle piece in there, so it's not going to spin, and it doesn't have any hinges or anything like that. So generally it's pretty much straight on, and it does work. So if I push the plunger here, it fires out the net. The net piece is its own piece, comes in a little box. I actually found this very effective. It works better than I expect it to. Some of the other net shooters that are like a little bit bigger than this, like the one that's in that Lego Batman movie Scuttler set, I think don't work quite as well as this one, because, well, I don't know why. I really liked how it felt to like load this up in there. It felt like it was good. It was going to stay in there. Didn't, you could probably get it in there in such a way that it doesn't, show too much, that, it doesn't peek out of here. And then I just thought, like, this is actually really, really nice, effective, it works, and I'm not trying to like figure it out or trying to do it a certain way in order to get it to operate. So I found that effective. This net could be used to, if someone wanted to, net over the vehicle here and try to capture this person. Maybe I like the net as just these vehicles happen to be, operating at the same time, and maybe the falling rock is coming, and maybe the vehicle behind the truck launches the net to kind of catch the rock and save the person in the red Jeep-like vehicle there. And I know that's kind of far-fetched, but and many of the official images do kind of indicate that this is intended to be a means of detaining a crook or the vehicle itself, and it is not too difficult to try to get that there. You can play around with the distance between these and whatnot, and play around with how you fold this to kind of figure out the best way to get it to deploy out of there. But for the most part, it just works, and so I think that's a success, and it's one of the things I was excited to look at there. I don't know if I needed the stickers on the side of that, but that's okay. Let's see if I can kind of get that on there. It might be difficult to kind of get this to land and lay right on the vehicle. I'm sure with enough tries I could get it, and other people could as well. There's maybe just different ways, and that's kind of everything that's in this set. So you get a lot of sort of different elements of this in a set that has relatively few pieces. You get essentially 3 vehicles. One's pretty minor, one's sort of in the middle, and then one's maybe on the bigger side for different stuff. You get a little bit of terrain with some functionality, some play features, and you get the sign there, and then you get the 3 minifigures. So that is everything in the set. I didn't find most of the stickers problematic, really. I just don't know how necessary all of them are, specifically the ones on the side of the kind of net launcher thing there. I maybe would have liked if the one on here was not a sticker, just because it was awkward to put on, but the rest of them are very fine, and overall I thought the amount of stickers was totally reasonable for this. Like this vehicle doesn't have any stickers on it, so that's acceptable. I think the minifigures could be better. Definitely would have loved to see alternate faces and alternate hair pieces. And then the other thing I forgot to mention while I'm here is there are some accessories for these emergency response people. So there is a radio here. There is also a pair of hand binding type pieces here that gets clipped on the side. I do always appreciate it when they have places for accessories to be clipped on or be stored during play and during display, and just in general. I always like that. This does have that. These are easily accessible, can get the other, get the officers to be able to utilize those. On the bike, there isn't really options for that, but there's pretty limited stuff on here as is, so not a big deal. I will kind of turn these over for now, and so we can see the profile of them, and I'll show the extra pieces because you do get some. You do get an extra of the visor for the bike helmet, extra of the hand restraints, and then your 1x1s, your studs, your tiles, your plates, your slopes, a little bit of Technic stuff in there, the bar element here, which is used kind of for the back of the Jeep-like vehicle. Those are all your extra pieces, about what one would expect. And this set is 297 pieces, 3 minifigures, including 2 that are maybe unique to this set. Maybe that's the bike officer and the quote-unquote crook, or whatever the official thing is that LEGO would refer to that person as. I think, you know what? Maybe that crook is in another set. Maybe that's not an exclusive one. They were also in the Mountain River Heist, which came out around the similar time, and that was a kind of a limited release potentially, and a little bit an exclusive release in some countries, and not shown in the general consumer catalog, but available from LEGO. And that looks kind of interesting, but it does include another net and another net launcher, but then it has like a police seaplane, a 6-wheeled kind of vehicle, a bank vehicle, a little bit of terrain. I don't know, that looks like a really interesting set. If I could get that one, I definitely would, but that means that the crook type character here is not exclusive to this set, and it is the 2 officers that are exclusive to this set, which is kind of unique. It apparently that Mountain River Heist set is pretty valuable right now, and I think that's kind of unique, but it might be something that I would consider checking out if I'm going to look for a complete and sealed one. I don't see one for sale in the U.S. There's Singapore, Sweden, Norway, and Singapore, and they are pretty expensive, plus whatever shipping that would be. So that might have been a really limited set. I'll have to kind of look around the internet for more of those for sale. But either way, that's kind of everything in here. In terms of what the value is, it's just under 300 pieces. For what it retailed was for $40, and I paid $50. Retailed for $40, 30 euros at the time, 25 pounds UK at the time, but $40 in America where I am. I paid $50 for this. The current value of this appears to be close to 50, maybe slightly under, but again, with shipping and whatever else, it could be more, and I think that's fine. Again, I don't know if this is necessarily the best value of any Lego set I've ever gotten at the $50 price point, but there is something to say about like the 2 vehicles of this. It doesn't have a big dinosaur in it, and I recently looked at a Lego Jurassic World set that had kind of 2 vehicles that were on the smaller side, not as detailed as either one of these, but that did have a big dinosaur in it, had slightly fewer pieces, did have 3 figures, not as well detailed figures. So it's kind of this interesting trade-off. That was a gift for me, but that one I think retailed for 40 or 50, so it's kind of similar to what the price that was paid for each of these. And in my mind, the dinosaur is going to win over, just because I think those dinosaur molds are so cool, and that's one of the main draws for me. The vehicles are not as good. These vehicles feel pretty good as a city set. I think this is nice. I think it's kind of interesting to do like a sub theme. So there's like city, and then there's maybe city emergency response, or city police, or city fire, or city hospital, or something, and then kind of going a level deeper, there's like there's mountain police and there's coastal beach, emergency response people, and there's just all sorts of different levels of like an extra sub theme. I think that's actually pretty cool, and I don't know if they're making stuff quite like this right now, but I would be interested in seeing other stuff from this time period, from this kind of sub theme, which is good. And I think I got a fine deal, when taking into consideration the market price and the retail price from a couple years ago. That feels all right to me, even if like the amount of plastic here and whatever isn't really comparable with the price that I paid, $50. If you like what you see here and you can find it for $50, you could do worse, you could do better, but it's kind of all up to whoever is buying this. To me, this seemed worth it. And I still think it was. I enjoyed building it, enjoyed talking about it. It's different for me. I sat on this one for a while, and it was just a unique set that I wanted to take a look at. Happy I did, and I think that's it. So great. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button down below so you can stay up to date on all the LEGO videos I'll be doing here in the future, including more Lego City sets, and then maybe more Mountain Police City sets, and then tons of other Lego sets from all different themes, all different shapes, size, price point, piece count. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming Lego videos. If you want to support the videos by giving money to the channel, you can do that here on YouTube with membership supers and thanks. There's a Patreon in the video description. There's a Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description. All that stuff really helps. I do pay for these things with my own money. For the vast majority of things, and because I have a pretty regular output of videos, and feasibly somebody could go through all of my videos and look in all the video descriptions and calculate out how much I've spent just on these sets that I've done videos for, which, there's some that I haven't done videos for, and all sorts of other stuff. And so that all comes out of my pocket, and if there's a way for me to make it, slightly more financially sound, financially more viable, that would be amazing. It's not needed, it's not necessary. I'm happy to do this. I do this because I want to do it. I knew that there was going to be costs associated with it, so there's avenues for people if they want to support the channel, and it does really, really help. And I'm grateful for anybody who checks that out and maybe considers, helping out a little bit. But I think that's it. And with all that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.